up, everybody? It's Chris, Denman, Solo. We have a very cool conversation coming up with local comic Jamie Fritz. You can follow her online. She's got a ton of shows throughout the Midwest, and we'll get into more of that in just a minute. Real quick, big thanks to Gardner and Travis. I know we changed over some things recently, and you guys are going to see like an official launch as far as the podcast kind of reimagined. I think we reimagined about a year ago, too. But you're going to see one-on-ones and some pretty unique ideas that I've got floating, and we're going to be launching the next week, so very excited about that. Until then, we've got Jamie, we've got possibly a couple other comics coming through St. Louis that are going to stop by, so we'll keep the content coming. Obviously, we're here at Midcoast Studio in Grand Center. Be sure to check out our website, midcoast.media, and I got to tell you about a quick couple of events, two huge events coming up. Target Practice, our roast show that our guest today has been a part of in the past. But it's March 28th right here at the Dot-Zac Theater. That's going to sell out. Already quite a few tickets gone, and we're not even a month away from it. Get tickets online through MetroTix. It's going to be a very fun time. Killer lineup, roasting pop culture topics, and then in the finals, the comics roast each other. So very fun time. Tickets are $20. Get them online at MetroTix. Big thanks to Jack Daniels for helping us put that on. Another big event that we're doing, 1860s in Soulard in the game room. Big event, karaoke, winner gets $1,000. That is right. Jack Daniels, Tennessee Apple, helping us out with that. 1860s in Soulard, very fun bar, very fun time, and it's a special event. 3 qualifying rounds and then a championship round. 6 finalists from each night. 30 people can go each night. It's free. Audience is free. There's a ticketing system for the audience. You can check out more online through the event, but basically it's come hang out, sing some karaoke, you might win $1,000. That simple. Going to be a good time. Thanks to Jack Daniels, Tennessee Apple, and 1860s for helping us put that on. And then stay tuned. We're going to do a big, either March 14th or March 17th, do a big St. Patrick's Day thing. Either way, I'll tell you more about other sponsors in the podcast, but I want to go ahead and get to our guest. Jamie Fritz, met her a few years back through the comedy scene here in St. Louis. It's always crazy how that works, and then you don't see somebody for a little bit, then you book them again, and you're like, oh yeah, they're really great, and they're funny, and I like being around her. So had to make that happen again, and for the first time, one-on-one, Jamie Fritz, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Way better now that you're here. You just got off work. That's actually something that I feel almost, it's fun watching comics in St. Louis go from, okay, we'll kind of, and you were doing it longer than open mic or anything when I first met you, obviously, but it's fun seeing people like start to kind of look at their day job as like, maybe you're expendable now, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be a weird feeling. And I feel like you're like with the gigs that you're booking and the multiple travel dates now, you're kind of maybe getting there where you got to take a hard look at it.
I'm on the edge.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm probably 2 years away from being able to financially make that decision.
Right.
So mentally, I'm already there in my heart.
Talent-wise, you feel like you're there?
I'm there definitely as a feature.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be so ballsy to call myself a headliner at this exact moment. Right? I mean, I could headline certain rooms, but I don't have like credits and things that you need to kind of get the money that makes the whole blah, blah. Right?
It's a weird business because you see like, I see people that become friends now with TV credits, with major, even motion picture credits, like even, and not like, oh, their friend shot a college film.
They might have one line.
Yeah, but they're in it.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, I was in what, you know.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think people overestimate what you make as a headliner when you start get going. But from the talent standpoint, because you even said it just now, where you're like, I'm careful about that. That's really smart because once you're thrown into that headliner bag, there's no, you have to compete against all the people you see on Netflix, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Even people, and I think you're smart to do that too, even it being like a strong feature. This is the thing I've picked up being around you guys so much. When people that have like hosted a couple times, they're like, I'm pretty close to being a feature. I'm like, should you say that? Like,
no.
Should you say that?
For all the comics that may or may not be listening to this and should be, you're not ready to feature just because you technically have amassed that amount of time in your mind. Right? Like, so you've hosted 7 shows, and in those 7 shows, you did 3 different minutes.
Sure.
The math makes sense. And so, no, I didn't do 30. I got a solid 30. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because the minute that somebody heckles you or a joke turns, you have nowhere to go.
And Are you ready to, and can you honestly look that other person who is quite a bit more talented than you and there's no mistake, are you ready to look them in the eye and tell them you're the same thing as them?
Right?
Are you?
Right?
Like, I don't know about that.
It's condescending to do that and act like, there's so many young comedians that have no idea that it's not about time amassed in terms of content. It's about your experience and your ability to handle the random things that happen during a set. A host doesn't have to handle that much because no one's that drunk.
Right.
And you're off quickly enough that if somebody's doing something stupid, you can kind of just ditch out and leave it for the professional to take care of. And if that's not you, then you're not ready.
Then you're not going to do it. That's so funny, too, because I think you guys, what you do is like, it takes a certain amount of stupidity or, and I mean that with so much respect, or lack of awareness, because you should push to get those gigs that you don't deserve or that you're not capable of handling very well, because that's the only way you're going to get better, right? But there's the other side of that where it's like, that I appreciate. There's the other side of that where if like there's some kind of a strange like entitlement to that, where it's like, I don't know, comedy's about as pure as it gets, whether you are funny or you're not, or you do a good job or you don't. And then whenever people kind of trick themselves a little, I'm an outsider watching this stuff and I don't have that that ego that's infused into it. So I do, it's an interesting thing to see from my perspective, just being around it.
And I feel that most of the people that I've seen that have had that I'm a feature, I'm a headliner decision far before they're ready. I'm not talking about somebody who's close on the cusp of that. I'm talking about somebody who's in for 6 months and they're technically a headliner in their soul. Those people tend to also wash out.
Yeah, good
because
point.
If you
because they're not ready for that grind.
Right. Yeah. They're not ready for what it actually takes to become a headliner, because there's going to be a lot of no's. There's going to be a lot of just being ignored by the booker. I mean,
and it's not because you're not funny, too.
It's because they get 457 emails a minute from somebody who is or is not funnier than you, but also who cares, says the booker.
Right.
Because they have the ability. It's like being in Hollywood. Sure, you might be as good as fill in the blank, whatever actor you love. Okay, you could be the next one. But there are 47 people in line in front of you who have been in Los Angeles 13 years longer than you that are just as good, that are ahead of you in line. Sorry.
And then comes the part where it's like, then other weird things come into play. Like maybe you have somebody has a giant social media following.
Sorry.
Maybe they've got local friends that are going to come out. Like that's what it is. Like they're going to get those
networking
gigs,
and being able to bring people. However, being a bringer doesn't necessarily mean you're a good comedian. That's
great
so
point.
true.
Yeah.
Because there's just a ton of people that get a very inflated sense of who they are because they have 20 friends who I guess all want to have sex with them.
I guess.
And they can just, drag them along to a show like, oh, she's funny, but she'll never date me. If I show up, then it'll work.
Does that happen?
All the time, dude.
Yeah. With you?
No, I don't. No.
Are you sleeping with your friends for spot?
No, I don't have friends.
No, but you see that you don't have friends. We could be friends.
We can be friends. Yeah. I have 3 friends, and that's my list.
At a certain age, you're like, and this has been highlighted on probably 50 sitcoms, but it's like, I'm good on the friend thing. Like, you're like, I don't know, what do you want from me?
New.
Or if somebody new comes along and they're messaging you a bunch, and I'm not antisocial by any means, but
you're protecting yourself against that stigma.
And I'm like, listen, here's
Please come
the deal.
out to my shows. I'm really awesome.
whenever we get to a point where I feel like telling you I don't talk to my mom as much as you're talking to me, like we kind of need to like chill out on this isn't
we found our line.
Yeah. It's been crossed, and I'm not somebody that needs that line crossed. So.
No.
But we'll be friends.
Yes.
I'll be different.
This relationship is fine.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you come to a podcast once
fine.
in a while. I'll book
Fine.
you every 3 years, and we can talk in
Solid.
those times.
We'll catch up.
So wait, this is interesting to me. So you think you've seen women or both?
Both.
Yeah.
Both, but I think what I'm talking about.
People are sexually attracted to them.
Specifically, women was what I was judging in that statement. But I've seen it on the guy side. There's a comedian, I won't necessarily out him because he's relatively successful.
Yeah.
But when he was starting out, he specifically set up like Tinder and Bumble profiles to get women to come to his shows.
I knew a girl who cut hair who did that.
It was, and he did it aggressively.
Oh, really?
And luckily, he's funny as ever.
Really?
So he was able to turn those into fans where it's like,
is he a headliner now?
Yeah.
You're not gonna say a name.
No, it feels wrong because
Does he talk about it?
Not on stage.
Oh, okay. So he's like,
he's,
no, this is a strategy.
Right. Like that was his reasoning, much in the way like an Instagram followership. I'm not either.
Yeah.
Because he also, this was important. I'm sure he had sex with some of those ladies. I'm certain he did.
But he's not dangling. He's not dangling the dong. Completely.
There was no dick carrot that the women were swatting at, going, "Is it tonight?"
Yeah.
You know, he would very quickly go like, "Look, I'm not interested in dating you, but I'm funny. Here we go." And and he would.
But they still.
But they were already had purchased a ticket, so they're there, and so most of them are like 2 drink minimum. Damn it. So they're in it.
Right.
So it's a little shady, but he's also a really great comedian, so they didn't waste their money.
So no one's mad. Yeah, and I think, and I'm gonna. There's only one way to sound like. I'm gonna sound like an asshole. I think that, in a sense, women get that advantage a lot.
Sure.
Maybe they don't. No, I would say. I tell people. I tell like women in sales. Women in sales. Like I don't care. I'm not saying imply you will sleep with someone if they do something like that, right?
Sure.
I am saying that it's a real thing, and if you happen to be good at saying like, I'm not promising you anything, but I'll be here, and I'm aware that you want to be in the same room as me. Can you get mad at people that do that? I don't.
No, you can't get mad at it.
As long as they're not putting themselves in a weird situation, I guess.
Well, that's up to them.
Great point.
If somebody gets a little handsy because this is the 9th show they've attended and they're looking for the payout, man.
Is that in your rider? You're like 9 shows and these things are yours. Yeah, have a grab.
Like it's
your 10th show attended. You get the left titty.
Yeah, we've got a punch card going for them, you know, and I have a special punch so that they can't just do it on their own at home.
Look at you!
Yeah. It's a dinosaur hand. Just, you know, it's good.
Now you've given it up.
Right? Like no, I'm gonna buy it on Amazon.
So where were we? Your dude, your guy. He's banging fans.
Yeah, well, I don't think he actually is though. That was the thing that made it kind of admirable, is that I don't think that he was using it to get laid and get further in his career.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's
there's a line though. You're gambling with someone's emotions, and at some point they're gonna ask you for follow through.
And then you have that weird like, I never said this, although it was probably in the air. You thought it was, but I never said anything.
Well, the worst version of that, where I don't agree with, is when you're going to dinners with a guy.
Yeah,
you just want free dinner.
Yeah.
Like there are people that do that.
Have you ever done that?
No. I don't date men with money. I mean, I'm buying the Jack in a Box. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
nice.
That's
That's
like
great.
You can get some tacos, but not literally. That's not for you.
Miss Pat said unemployed dudes are bringing pain. They are wrecking shop when they're getting late. Like if you want to get ravaged, hook up with an unemployed dude.
I have a joke that does touch on that, where like legit, I mean, they will have sex with you like they know they're going to ask you for $50 when it's over. And I would be lying to you.
That's a good trade-off.
I'd be lying to you if I haven't had someone be like, afterwards. Like and it's awkward. And one time I was like, here's my ATM card. Where you're fine. You did well.
Did you feel it coming?
Boo.
From
him, in theory, like yes, because he was not sly. I think that much of the way.
I'm saying 10 minutes in, where you're like, "This is so great. I think I know what's going to happen at the end of this."
Think he's going to ask me for money? No, it was not that good. But I did concede and allow him to have $25.
That's fair. I mean, come on, for his troubles,
right? God knows if he was satisfied. I didn't ask.
Okay, good for you. All right, I appreciate the honesty there. Huh. Okay, where do we go from there? Wish they would. You should bring that guy along on an interview sometime.
No, his nickname is Rip and Run because I won't acknowledge his actual name, right? Because whenever I wouldn't know, we were dating.
Oh, okay.
And we would break up, get back together, break up, get back together. And whenever I'd kind of ask him, well, where have you been? Because he'd disappear for periods of time when we were together. Yeah, like he'd just disappear. And he's like, I'm just out in these streets ripping and running. So that's why he's ripping and running.
Okay.
Which is classy. Super classy. That's where a lot of these stories are based.
But I like that.
Selection of gentlemen.
Do you feel like, okay, you single now?
Yes.
It's weird. I didn't ask you if you're okay to talk about that.
I don't care.
Well, the next question. Do you feel like so you have a full-time job. Mm-hmm. You told me you're traveling every weekend now. Mm-hmm. Where are you at this weekend?
Ohio.
Yeah. How long of a drive is that?
About 8.5.
That's a lot.
It is. And the money's barely worth it, but you go.
But it's the opportunity, isn't
it?
Yeah.
Right. And with merchandise sales, you can make up a lot of the sadness on the initial.
Featuring.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Here's a direction. So the man on the wall there, the great Ian Bagg. I don't know if you've ever worked with Ian before.
I've never, but I know who he is.
He's arguably one of the funniest people on the planet. And he's very talented. He's not selling out theaters or anything like that, but, he's been a club headliner for 20 plus years. And incredibly funny. Like I've heard guys that are big time stars going, I ain't trying to follow that at the Laugh Factory or something.
Right.
Long story short, he is unafraid to talk about this. He has a hard and fast rule. Features are not allowed to sell merch. I've talked to other people that hate him for that because when they feature it, they're like, that's the only reason. And he's like, be a headliner. And he's like, it's my show.
Well, the truth is that it's up to the headliner.
Of course,
and it's appropriate. Anytime I'm anywhere, I always ask.
Yeah.
I bring it with me with the assumption that it's going to be okay because obviously you want it with you. Mm-hmm. But I have to ask because that is the respectful thing to do in my position, right? That's the pecking order. And almost every headliner I've worked with, their reaction is, God, why are you even asking? And I'm like, well... Because, and oddly...
Because technically it's their right.
It's their right to say that... I've never had anyone tell me no. Mm-hmm. And I've had people say, don't even ask. Just assume that you can and make the headliner tell you no because you're out there.
Right.
Professionally, I don't want to do that. I would like to ask.
Yeah, because you are, even though you're now established and you are in a position where you're obviously you're literally not on their level, but like you're not a local host who's jumping into the game.
I'm not, I didn't drive 20 minutes and then I'm like, can I sell my t-shirts?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I drove 8 hours for
like, hey, I'm out here working.
Yeah.
Too. Right.
Yeah. The grind is real.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where I am. So I agree with the idea of, ascend to a headliner and then you don't have to ask.
Yeah.
But I do inherently disagree with the idea of, you aren't worth anything either because that am I wrong? That's telling them that they're not worth anything. I'm worth $50.
I understood. I understood his reasoning because we're friends and did a podcast together for a year, and I know him. Mm-hmm. I understood it, and I support it. That's your right.
Yeah.
But he knows it too, where he's like, I don't care if people don't like it. It's my rule, and he wants to. If he feels that that's his one hard and fast rule, like he's got no right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's got nothing else, and he's, a tenured person. I get it. Personally, I don't think they're taking away sales from you.
No.
Like, I don't think that's what it would be. I think it would be in addition to, so I see his point, but I understand why people would be mad too. Because really, you're scrounging at your level.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. Let's look at the finances of this decision. Mm-hmm. I'm getting paid $100 to drive to Ohio this weekend, right? Straight up, and I'm
per show.
There's only one show. There's only one show, and there's no lodging. So I'm either sleeping in a gas station or I'm spending about $50 to sleep in a hotel. So that is most features are making somewhere between 50 to maybe 400.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully you're getting a weekend and maybe you'll get lucky and they'll put you up. Most of the time they're not.
They're not. So if you're looking at somebody
and as a woman too. I think that's worse as a woman.
Well, I cannot sleep in a gas station. I will get kidnapped in a gas station. Like this is where I die in Ohio. So as a female, I kind of can't take the risks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I wouldn't want to die in Ohio if I wasn't from there, right? Most people would say that about Missouri. You're like, oh, don't die in Missouri.
I love the idea that somebody from Ohio just wants to cross the border before they die. I don't want to die in there.
Not here, man.
Like, I'll get to West Virginia.
If you had to pick a state to die in honorably, which one would it be?
Honorably. That's interesting. I love that I have an honorable death. That makes me happy. God, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to be super cheesy. I'll say on a beach in California. There you go. See ya later. That was the correct answer. We'll move on because yours won't beat that.
No, it won't.
It won't.
It won't.
It won't. No, and this is the part where it's like, I treat women equally and all that, but then I don't, because I'm like, that's not equal in what you would have to face or the potential danger. Dudes can get raped. I get it. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same
It's a
time, like
lesser
at a truck stop,
number.
yeah, you're much more likely to get poked and prodded at unwantedly. Again, maybe that's your thing.
Now, what's funny is the amount of times that pimps have approached me
Really?
in truck stops.
That's
Apparently,
super scary, actually.
I look like a girl without representation.
We're not talking comics anymore, people.
Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah, it happens a lot where they're like, anybody get at you yet? Hey, girl, you out here by yourself? And I'm like, I'm going to go to my Yaris and hope I make it home. Just, it happens.
So wait, they think
lot.
you're like new to the block.
Right.
And they're like, we've got you covered. Here's
like
what I do for
you shouldn't be out in these trucks by yourself.
401k.
Yeah. Oh, it's a proper offer.
Right,
yeah, a signing bonus.
That's
yeah.
That's scary.
It happens.
Because then you're getting into nah, it's no longer. Oh, I think you're just being a little nervous too. Like, they might drug you. Like, I don't know how the snatching process works. It can't be good.
They're
It's
probably
a
not
horrible
going
thing
to
to
talk
do.
to me about it beforehand.
Right.
I'm just going to, like,
you work for me now.
I'm very aware that my Yaris is tiny and could fit in a larger vehicle.
Oh, no.
And I think about that.
Truck? Oh, my
I think
God.
about that, which I shouldn't, but I watch a lot of crime shows.
Why?
Because
Why do you all do that? Why do women do that?
Okay. Well, I do that because I feel as though I
I'm
need
grouping
to
you
be.
in with all women.
Well, okay. I
this is
can't
a
speak
problem.
for all women. A lot of women like crime shows. Holy crap, we do. We do.
It's-
For myself, I enjoy watching them. Enjoy's wrong. I watch them so that I am hyper aware that anyone could be a murderer. Because I'm overly trusting and codependent on a level that is unreal, man.
Dude.
I shouldn't have stories about rip and run. I've been sold to somebody before.
What?
That happened.
Jamie.
That happened.
Jamie,
Now I got out of it.
I got
out of it.
This camera over at the wall.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello.
Just what you say that again?
I've been sold to someone before. Yeah. Which was super cool. Not really. It's a real story. I had a boyfriend, not rip and run, totally different guy, who was a very unsuccessful drug dealer. And I was going to be payment for his poor dealings. And luckily, the drug dealer was a gentleman and gave me an option to screw for my freedom or let him shoot the boyfriend.
This isn't funny.
And I left and did hear a gunshot after. I think it's funny because I hate Jeremy. That's his name.
That's well-timed drink of water. Oh my God. So wait, so Jeremy was bad at drug dealing.
Yes.
And
used most of the drugs that he was supposed to do the selling.
High on his own supply.
Yeah.
You've seen it a
Broken
million
rule,
times.
man. Like
You've seen it a million times.
It's a good rule.
So, so this happens.
Yeah.
Was Jeremy laying some decent though? Like, was he fine?
He was okay.
Okay, all right.
It was a lot of
I'm
faked orgasms. There's a lot of faked orgasms. They're in there. They're in there. So it's like
I had no intent of learning this about you.
I'm
this
sure
is amazing.
You didn't. No one wants to know.
So
Mom doesn't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, your mom subscribes to the podcast.
Right,
this is
now.
gonna be really weird. So wait. So we're back to this. Were you aware he was dealing when you were dating?
About 6 months in.
Okay.
Right?
That's a long
Like,
time in. You get to know somebody. Yeah.
You know, I don't ask a lot of questions, which is an unfortunate thing for me. I trust what someone's telling me.
I like that. I do that too. I'm like, I don't have time to.
I don't want to scrutinize. I want you to be the person you're telling me you are, because that is what I'm doing. So I, expect that in return. And my life has taught me that that's not true. And a lot of people will, so pimps approach me because of they can see this. Right? I think it's the same flaw. Like a man thought he could sell me and I'd be like, cool, I get it.
Right.
So a pimp thought he also could get me.
So whenever the boss was like, he tells you, listen, I'm going to shoot Jeremy, the bad drug dealer.
Yes.
Or this is going there.
Yes.
And we're going to do this.
Correct.
Do you, like, in that situation, do you feel, I have this problem. So here's me in that situation.
Feeling for Jeremy.
No. Sure don't. I have this problem where in the past I would underestimate people's stupidity and or seriousness in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So say it's I don't want to turn this into this story, but whatever. Long story short, there's been a couple altercations I've been involved in where idiot dudes are like doing something to like start something up, and I'm like, oh, that's funny because they're not acting like real people. And then I'll catch and I go, oh, you're being serious? Oh, we're getting ready to fight. Oh, that's
right, and you're in it.
Yes. So is it that kind of thing, or are your spidey senses going off where you're like, this is real, and this guy thinks he's going to have sex with me, and I'm going to leave the situation immediately? Obviously, you didn't think he was going to shoot you.
No, he was never going to shoot me.
You put it on the table that if you got to shoot Jeremy, you got to shoot Jeremy.
Dude,
was that in your head?
Well, no, I was comfortable with the outcome because I'm not about to be raped for someone else's bill. That feels confusing. Like, I didn't even rack up the charges.
Or your own bill, to be fair.
I mean, I guess to be fair, but I wasn't even part of the bill. Right.
So you're like, I didn't smoke that.
Yeah.
Or whatever he was doing.
I think it was cocaine. Okay. I don't actually know. Again, not
That's
very
what
informed.
they say. Yeah, like weed dealers wouldn't happen with weed dealers.
No, it's got to be, somebody's getting a kilo and doing the wrong things with it.
Yeah.
Like Breaking Bad hadn't happened yet. He didn't have the training.
Got it.
Right. But, the atmosphere is weird when we got there, and I'm immediately told I have to go to a bedroom, which felt strange. So I asked questions, and then everyone left because boss man was like, everyone just needs to leave. And he just grabbed my hand, and he was a very large gentleman. So there was no, you're there. That's what I'm going to say, right?
People don't realize like we're so ingrained in doing things online and everything, like the reality of situations of having someone larger, stronger, whatever than you.
That's what it is.
It's very real and it's very quick. Like, so.
Because because I was aware that it was a weird and negative situation, but not enough so that I was going to run, which is the wrong instinct. Technically, I should have just and pieced out immediately.
Yeah.
Didn't. And he explained to me that I was offered his payment, and his words were, I'd really like to date you, and this is not how I want to get at you the first time. So I want to, I want to be clear. I never dated him. That was my no. So I apparently do have a line of standard, but because I was so valued as a person, he wouldn't take me as payment unless it was consensual. And I've never seen Jeremy again. He did not die, but I've never seen him again.
Got it. Huh. So that was the end of you and Jeremy's relationship.
Correct.
Right there.
That was we're
you
good.
didn't have to have like coffee or anything.
No, straight up.
You didn't have to go do lines together.
My cardigan that stayed at the apartment, that's dead to me now. That I don't need any clothes.
Do you think he gave that to the boss man?
Maybe.
Like as partial.
He's like, here you go. He's like, here you go.
Remember you? What do you think he gave the boss guy? He's like, you want to date her? You're just supposed to take her as rape payment. Like what is going on here? So wait, is this in the geographical area that we're in now?
Yes.
Why are you at the studio currently? Like maybe you're being hunted and I'm now implicated in this. And they listen, either we get to have sex with Jamie or we get to do a podcast from your studio. Like, do you think he does that everywhere?
I'm sure.
Like as a bargaining chip?
Why wouldn't you?
Why not?
I mean, if there's a girl that is high and stupid and is like, well, okay. I mean, it does happen.
Right.
I know it sounds awful and it's not, this is part where it's not a joke, but I promise that is a successful payment method in other circumstances.
Wow.
Promise.
And
Turns out I'm just educated enough.
Not.
I mean, this is where their plan fell apart. I wasn't using any of the drugs.
Right.
So I'm not this high off of, I was still me, normal me.
You saw no benefit, and sadly someone would see benefit in doing that.
Because in theory, that's where they get their drugs from free as well. And,
right.
So if you're high and drunk and you're not well and you're not making great choices,
right.
You've probably already done some sexual things for certain things. And this is just the next level of bad decision that
again, we're talking coke, not weed here.
Correct.
All right. Isn't that weird that those two had those were the levels, and then now you go into the Apple store basically and buy yourself weed, and you would have been forced as payment for weed back in the day.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So that's behind you. Do you think that do you think that fuels your comedy? Getting the hell away from the boss man?
Right. I've actually tried to tell that as a joke, and it seems to alarm most people more than it does
It's
myself.
really scary.
I get that it is,
because they start picturing their mom, their sister, their friend.
I get it, and I've just made my peace with that story.
But see, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and I hope no one ever tries to take that from you.
Yeah.
Because you should be allowed to
tell my
deal
own
with
story.
That. Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There, people, whether it's a hunting accident or a argument they had with their sister, everybody tells their version of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that you can own that and discuss it and realize the absurdity, like, I don't know, I think it's pretty great. So I'm in awe right now because I can be a non-reactionary person, but inside I'm just like, holy shit.
Well, and a lot of people don't expect it coming from me, just because I look like I haven't had those backgrounds, those options.
Right.
I know that sounds judgy and weird.
No. I know exactly what you mean. You have an ID on, like you just came from your office job. No, you can't see it on the thing. Okay. But you just came from your office job, and you're a generally upbeat, cheery, intelligent person. So people are going to think you're not getting into these truck stop mishaps, but you're not.
I get into trouble everywhere.
So,
but that's why I watch crime shows.
Gotcha. So you're ready.
Yes, so that I'm always ready hands. Mm-hmm. I'm always looking for that moment of going, oh, I see you turning. I know that sounds awful, but I've had enough weird situations that I feel I could benefit from, like, hearing an interview of like a serial killer's ex-wife going, well, this was the moment that I thought he was weird. And that way, when that happens in a relationship, I can kind of go, oh, that's you.
Have you ever wrongly thought someone was...
No, I've always been correct. It's just whether or not I leave fast enough. That's the only thing that
Do you want to have kids?
No.
No, you don't.
Did you want me to make one?
You want to have some kids? No. I'm saying you would be like you're locked.
My
kids
would
ain't getting away with
they'd have
anything.
machetes.
No,
because they'd be terrified.
Okay.
No, if I had children, trust me, they wouldn't have doors because I wouldn't trust anything.
I was gonna say, like, kids would not get anything by you.
No, I mean, I would be terrifying. I'm a pretty wicked aunt as it is.
Really? How many nieces and nephews?
I have 2 nephews and 1 niece.
Yeah.
And whenever they're at a point, like, we were, I hate mom. Mom's the hardest, because my sister, she can wield some rules. I'm not going to act like she can't.
Right.
She can.
Sure.
Just come to my house for an afternoon, and we're going to learn about other rules.
And Aunt Jamie is paid to be wittier and smarter than people, so you're not going to get anything by verbally either.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
Because all little kids kind of think they're funny to a degree.
Of course.
And then if you just shut them down, like, ooh.
I will provide some destruction so that you are happy to go home to mom.
That's really funny.
I'm comfortable with that.
Look at you. I'm starting to see the toughness come out. Okay. Where did you grow up?
St. Louis City. South City.
I can't remember if I knew that about you or not. So wait, South City, St. Louis, like Catholic South City, St. Louis, or like Roosevelt, South City, St. Louis?
Closer to Roosevelt. Okay. I was in the magnet school program, so it's public, but
How does that work? I grew up in an area, I remember, so Farmington, Missouri is where I grew up. Our schools are amazing, and they're free, and it's like the thought of the stuff that people deal with in St. Louis when it comes to public schools, and the sadness that's tied to that is devastating and crazy when you think about it. And then you start thinking about what private schools cost and how insane that is to somebody who comes from an area like I came from. It's a world difference.
Yeah.
Tell me what the magnet schools that you went to, like, how does that work?
So it was basically, it still exists. It's the public school's answer to the private school problem. Mm-hmm. So you have to test to get into there, and so they kind of put their
special
elite
districts almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say elite. I want to say just, because you do test to get in. So you have to be smarter than the average bear to get in there,
Yeah.
But at the same time, that line isn't a massive jump either.
Right.
If that makes sense. It's just, you just got to be a little bit better. Just got to get a little bit, because you're not going to go to the school in your neighborhood. You're going to go to wherever they bust you. So
and your parents don't have to pay the bill.
No,
the private school.
Correct. And so my battle, my whole life, growing up in the public school system, was convincing everyone that I wasn't from the county, because that was a big point of contention for me, because all the white kids were bussed in from the county. And
at the magnet school. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm the one
interesting.
white kid that's from the city, and it's like the Jets and the Sharks, and I'm like, don't you put me over there. I was so, I wanted to be identified with the city every step of the way. If you tell me you think I'm from Afton, I'm going to punch you in the throat.
And there's a clear difference. That's what's so weird about here in St. Louis. I dated someone for several years that she was an extremely good volleyball player.
Yeah.
Right? So all the private schools wanted her to play volleyball. She grew up in the Joan of Arc area, like Southampton.
Yeah.
And she went to go play for volleyball at one of the private high schools, but she went where mostly county people were, and she's like, it drove her insane. And then now you see it living here. I'm like, oh, those are just two different breeds of human.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure every city has this type of separation, but St. Louis on a very hyper level, we have a city-county separation. I mean, we can get into it about the whole how they separated from the taxes and blah, 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 blah. We can get into that because we can.
Right.
But no one from the county wants to be associated with the city. No one from the city wants to be associated with the county. We don't want that at all. And unfortunately, racial lines a lot of times are what are drawn to kind of demarcate that.
Right.
So when you're a white person from the city who identifies as city, it can get cute.
Right.
Because I didn't want any of that.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it.
That's so crazy how that is too. And almost if you really look at it, you may disagree with me here, but if you look at it from a higher view, you're like, what are we arguing
why do we
about
care?
here?
Yeah, truthfully, why do we care?
It's so wild, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
I even see it. I've lived in the city for 9 years total, something like that. And I literally grew up on a farm. So I'm like, I don't even
You're just happy to be here.
I love, but I love the country. I love the country, but I'm like, either I'm out in the country or I'm in the city.
Yeah.
Don't give me this bullshit in between.
No, man.
You know what I mean?
Which
is so not fair.
I
but,
never even visited the county
Right.
until I was in college.
Right.
Literally had never stepped foot outside of St. Louis City on purpose. I'm sure I had kind of on accident.
Right.
Didn't have awareness of where
Somebody
I was.
was having a party or something.
But I was in college and somebody was having a party in St. Charles and I'd never been there before. And I followed my friend.
World.
Man, I followed my friend out there as we crossed the 57th bridge. Because God, all the bridges, right? We've crossed the bridges. All the breadcrumbs are gone. I don't know where I am. I started hysterically crying.
Are you serious?
Because I was sure I was going to die.
You're in college?
Yes, I'm in college.
That's funny.
I was crying like a jerk,
That's
right?
hilarious.
Because all I could hear was just the music from Deliverance.
Why is there a casino?
And I mean, I was assuming I was going to open the door and there'd be a shirtless white man that was up to no good.
Right.
And I knew... I don't know.
You never went to In Cahoots as a teenager?
God, no.
We knew about it in Farmington. We were
gross.
I think because they advertised on the radio,
Sure.
which that's a disgusting thought now because they had a teen night at a dance club that people would, not 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds would go to. And there'd be stories of oh, there was this guy who's in college. And you're a sophomore in high school.
Why are you
What's
here?
happening? I never went, but I remember thinking the girls that would sneak in there, I don't know if that's good.
That not to say that this is one of those moments where you invested bad decisions in your outcomes, but if you are an underage girl and you choose to, sneak into a bar filled with drunken overage men, if they get handsy, I'm not saying you're at fault, but I am saying make better choices.
I think that's fair. And look at you with the
Making
ant
good
wisdom.
choices.
With the ant wisdom.
I know. I'll lay that down. I will lay it down every time.
I appreciate that about you. Is why you're here. So wait, okay. So you're going to Ohio this weekend. I don't want to keep you here for 3 hours, and we're having too much fun, and I could see that happening.
I have nothing to do.
Tell me about this. I'd love to stay for 3 hours. Make it 3 hours,
it's
please.
safe in
Can
here.
we talk? No one wants to buy me.
Advertising. I'm not for sale, but I am for sale. I mean,
Are you
it's
looking-
a confusing world.
You looking for a dude right now?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's got okay. So there's a couple of things here. I think it's super healthy when people are confident and you're a comic and you're on the road. I see nothing wrong with you. You hang out with somebody, some stuff happens while you're visiting Ohio. It is what it is. The problem is you then have to go back there. You go and you inevitably could cause trouble for yourselves. Do you see that as being I don't? I see both schools where you're like, I need to just focus. I need to go right. Say it's a weekend, and you do that, and you're touring, you're headlining, right? So you did some radio that day. Some people know you, but then when you get to a certain level, it's 10 people, 50 people, throwing themselves at you a little bit, and that can get dangerous because your screening process is out the window, right? Because you're just like, well, whatever. I don't. How do you feel about that? This has got to be something you think. I think women have to face that quicker than guys, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have.
Because you're a novelty. You're a novelty to people, and you're confident. Does that make sense?
Technically, the words you're saying make sense. I don't get hit on as that. I mean, I appreciate you. I mean, pimps. I don't count that as getting hit on. Like, I don't get hit on by actual people that you should respond to. Even
after shows?
Yeah. No, it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Like
you think it's because you're confident? Like you think it's your body language?
I don't know. I'm not going to change
it.
I'm
putting it out there.
Well, I mean, because I'm not out there going like, look, I'm lonely.
Right.
And so I'm not putting that energy out there.
Do you drink?
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much.
That's probably part of it too.
But so I don't get hit on frequently. And when I do, it's normally like a 60, 70-year-old man that's,
appreciative of the conversation.
Correct.
I know the guy. I know the guy you're talking.
But he's also not looking to close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's like, can I get you a beer? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Because I don't want your beer. Because you're gonna go get your beer and you're gonna bring the beer to me and it's already open and I have to assume I'm dying because I'm drinking the beer.
Shows. You watched NCIS.
I mean, straight up.
Is that one of the shows you watched?
Any of them.
Okay.
Fill in the blank.
Got it.
All. And so I have to I do make an assumption that everyone that is a stranger could mean harm to me. So I don't tend to,
I know you just told me about a story where you were almost sold, so I have to just side with you on this one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So I'm not against dating.
Yeah.
But it has to
Please
be a
don't
very
sell me.
specific person
Right.
that I would want to pursue me and kind of go that direction with.
I think that's probably better for your career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man, the worst part about my last relationship was that in the beginning, he's all supportive with comedy because that's what they tell you, right? Like, oh, I love that. And you're telling me whatever.
Do you, dude? Because I don't know if you do, man.
Straight up, what he wanted was a girl at home, barefoot and pregnant. And
Really?
I couldn't be further from that archetype in
That's
every
tough.
way possible. And I think that a lot of guys want that. They want a wife. They want the stay-at-home thing.
Do you think they realize it? Or do you think it's latent?
I think they all know they want that.
Really?
I think I don't want to say every guy, but I think most guys know that is inherently what they want, even if they're not willing to say it.
Do you think all guys want that?
What? Is that a weird thing for men to want? Men get women into marriage all the time, dude. That's not a new thing.
I appreciate when people have this shit going on, though, because then you're not going to bother me.
Yeah. There's that.
Does that make sense?
But do you want her at home making sure that the house is happy and that the dinner is prepared?
No.
I mean, I date a lot of really overly misogynistic people as well. So there is that.
Yeah, I like to cook too. Yeah. So and I'm saying, but there's other people like me is my point. But that I'm not
independent people. Holy shit! Who knew?
Wow.
They exist.
So weird. No, I guess there's more people than I realize. I don't know. I appreciate whenever, but maybe that's good for me.
Because you've got your own thing,
right?
So you don't have to feel guilty about like, well, I can't be home.
And it's taxing. Your schedule's yours, and I'll say mine. It's inherently super selfish.
Yeah,
it's a very selfish
and
schedule.
It has to be. I mean, it has to be.
Especially comedy.
Because,
or you won't make it.
Or even just for an independent business owner, which is your world. I mean, it's entertainment, but it's an independent business. If you stop, the business stops. If I stop, the business stops. I have to grow my business because no one's doing it for me.
There's in no logical business class, anything else, would anyone ever say, great idea to drive to Ohio for 8 hours both ways and make what you're going to make.
Yeah.
But then there's the part where it's like, well, cost of doing business. Like, that's what it is.
It is what it is. And you hope the merchandise sales.
All of
Our,
what town in Ohio?
Medina.
Here, cut a promo. Tell the people, the good people of Medina, what you need and why you need it. So we're huge. We're huge in Medina.
Yeah, we're Medina, Ohio. I love you. Happy to return. Never been there. And I'm going to make you laugh, and I really hope that you buy a ton of merchandise so that I can stay in a hotel room and not die in your city. Love you. See you Saturday. Was that the wrong promo? Did I do it wrong? Was
No,
that
you
not
did
what
it
we were
perfect. You did it perfect. I'm
I
going to
mean,
cut that for you, so you
murder
can play
rate
it.
in Medina. I don't know how high it is.
Where is Medina?
I have no idea. I don't know. Which is also bad. I just put stuff in Google and I go. I don't look at anything, so I don't really know where I am at any given point. So if my phone turns off, I am murderable.
This is what happens.
That's when it ends.
Okay. Predictions.
Uh-oh.
Moving forward, what do you so you're grinding hard on the stand-up?
Yes. Could work harder, though.
You think so?
Yep.
You mean open mics, more gigs,
more writing, more rewriting. I have a lot of material that is based around the last relationship I was in. That's
How much do you write? Like on a daily basis?
Oh, it's not even daily. It's weekly, which is not what it should be, right? I need to write a lot more often.
So easy to say that too, and a lot of people are like, oh, I write, and then I'm like,
do you?
I don't know if you do
because I've been watching you, and you've been doing the same 10 minutes for the last 2.5 years. So get out of here. Oh, what have you been writing? Oh crap, that doesn't count.
Right.
I mean, Jack is, you know what I mean? Like whatever.
That's not everybody. Plenty of people write, but
but there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm writing. I'm like,
personally,
you wrote a grocery list.
I see it too. That's the first thing to go. Like creative, like push goes because it's the easiest to say you'll do later.
Yeah.
All right. And it's
easy.
Like,
well, and you're exhausted, you know.
What do you want to do? Do you want to wake up an extra half an hour early and write every day? Or do you want that extra half hour sleep before you go to your day job?
Yeah.
That's tough.
That sucks your soul out of your nostrils and it hurts. Yeah. Though what's weird is that I'm writing a lot more in my head as I'm driving.
Right. That's
I know
good.
That
no,
so
that's good.
A slight
you
cop
should
out,
record yourself with your phone.
I do sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'll start kind of building bits and integrating things, and it's really great in the car because I got nothing else to do, and that's 8 hours. That's 8 hours of good thinking time that I can use. So I try that.
Well, and what's the difference? I mean, it's just your process, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's how you get new stuff out, then.
And I've written some really good jokes that way on accident. That's beyond like the deliberate. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to write.
Right.
If when you have nothing else to do, your brain naturally wanders to funny places if you're a funny person.
Yeah.
So it's a very natural process if you can capture it.
It's a great point. Prediction for the next 5 years. You're going to be headlining. You want to grow through. You're primarily Midwest right now, right?
Midwest, Northeast. That seems to be but never to New York ever. It's always.
Want to?
I mean, who doesn't want to be in a bigger city? You know what I mean?
You think you'll stay in St. Louis?
I don't know. That's a hard answer, man.
It's tough too because even like you see, like you don't have to live in one of the major cities to work all the time.
No, I mean you're on the road. So if my last gig is in Tulsa, then I get on a plane to wherever. Then I get on a plane to wherever. You know, once you're connecting via plane, you've got a whole different idea of where you get to live to do your job.
Yeah.
But there are opportunities that are on the coasts to kind of advance your career a little bit faster. That is legitimate. But I don't know. Like I that scares me more than I can even explain.
Moving?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because you've been here, it's what you know?
I mean, I lived in Chicago for a period of time. Hated it desperately.
Really?
Yeah, hated it. Workaholic, didn't really look at the city, didn't enjoy the city. It was so expensive. I wanted to cry all the time.
Right.
You know,
Do you think it was more circumstantial than the city's fault?
I think Chicago's pretty shitty.
Really?
Yeah. I saw enough. The amount of... Can I cuss in here? The amount of motherfuckers that won't make eye contact with you in Chicago can just suck it. That's all I can say.
You'd hate L.A. Chicago.
I visited L.A. because the boyfriend I just left, that sounds awful. He lives in Los Angeles, so I've been there, and pimps approached me there too. But anyway, I was just outside a gas station.
Listen.
Two separate El Caminos were like, hey, like why? Why are there two of them?
I'm going to be
sorry.
honest.
I don't know why it's so many.
I'm going to be honest. There's a gentleman named Ron. He just wants to have a couple words with you. He approached me when he heard you were coming on.
Sure.
If you could just talk to him,
he's like,
maybe hang out with him for a weekend.
Hey, I don't get a bonus or anything.
This is strictly a networking thing.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh. But if you'll just stick with him for like 3 years,
sure.
That'd be great for me. I smoked.
A younger me is like, oh, there's an opportunity there. I understand.
Sure. So do you want to advance? Like, have you ever looked in? And I don't. You're doing a great job with stand up. Is that the way out of your? We'll just say out of your day job. Is that the way out of your day job?
Yeah.
Full time stand up.
Yes.
Do you care about acting?
So
I shouldn't have to ask.
No,
you that.
I get that, but a lot of people want to kind of transfer one to the other.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of stand-ups that do acting and
probably,
vice versa.
And there's opportunities, and there's way more money in acting.
Sure. Yeah. So the answer is possibly. I was in theater for 20 years before I touched stand-up. And yeah, which is why I have good stage presence, so I have to give it that.
Right. How long have you been doing stand-up?
About 5.5 years.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, honestly, it might be more like 4.5. I kind of just roll the dates. I don't know when I started.
No, that's
because
great.
Everybody's always like, my stand-up anniversary. And I was like, bitch, I didn't track that. But anyway, sorry. Now that I can cuss, I'm saying stuff.
Yeah, look who it is. No wonder these pimps like you.
Right? I know. I'm mouthy, and they're like, use it. And I'm like, no. Wait, this is confusing.
Okay, maybe.
But it's like, well, buy me a sandwich.
Right.
But so I spent 20 years in theater, and I realize now that the only reason I pursued theater at all is because I could explain that pursuit to my dad. I can get a degree
What a
in
great
theater,
realization. Yeah.
You know,
you think you would have gotten into stand-up earlier if you thought it was viable?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I thought a woman could do it. I'll explain. When I was little, we didn't have cable. The only stand-up I saw was
Magnet
this.
school, not private school. Don't forget.
Exactly. There was not money for cable if there's no money for school.
Yeah.
That's
no
what
cable.
it is. No cable.
Damn.
Yeah. So meaning that you don't have HBO, you don't have the comedy specials.
You're not seeing Kathleen Madigan.
No, I have
work
no
it
idea.
out. Yeah.
And I'm also older than you think, so it wasn't even Kathleen Madigan that I wouldn't have been missing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm
Paula Poundstone.
Yeah. Yes. I'm 900. And so, yeah, it's fine. You know, like Phyllis Diller, but she's a golden.
Joan Rivers before a scalp had ever touched her. A scalpel had ever touched her. Yeah.
She's a pure woman. But, a VHS tape that had Louis C.K. and Eddie Griffin on it.
Got it.
Magically made its way into our house at some slumber party, right?
Really?
I don't know who brought it. My sister has no knowledge. I don't know.
Really?
I watched that thing, and I stole it and hid it underneath my mattress.
Like it was porn?
Yes. And I would watch it in the middle of the night.
Were your parents strict?
I don't think that they would have cared.
You just saw, okay, yeah, but I'm trying to put how old do you think?
I was probably like 10, 12.
Okay, so you treated it like it was like you got the rated R movie, and you just knew that you weren't supposed to be watching that.
Right. I mean, they were cussing.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And so, but I loved it. But those were the only two comedians that I knew existed until I got to college in a way.
That is strange too, because now we're living in a time where
everything's streaming,
all stand up, and you can get to anything. This is just, I mean, this is 1964,
right?
When you were, so
the Betamax.
No, it is weird thinking about that. Just the information that wasn't available, or the entertainment that wasn't available. Okay, so until you get to college.
Yeah, and then I got to college and saw their comedy specials, and eventually saw a woman do it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds dumb, but oh my God, we can be funny too. Who knew?
Who was the first woman that you saw do stand up? Do you know?
Ellen.
Oh, Ellen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She
the
was
special
a killer.
where she had like the moon in the background.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's that one.
She was a
great.
murderer.
She was great, but even then, it didn't connect to something I could do. Because it's a different thing. I'd been selling theater and acting to myself since I was in 5th grade, and that was going to be what I was going to do, and that's who I was going to be. And as I got deeper and deeper into that world, that doesn't feed me at all. Saying someone else's monologue, saying someone else's line, being someone else's character, though I am good at it. I am good at it. I'm not even going to act like I'm not. I can cry on cue.
What else would you admit to being good at?
I'm a great gardener.
You're a dork. That's what you say?
Yes. What was I supposed to say?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, are you? But are you?
I mean,
are you good?
Just checking. Like if you had to rate yourself.
What do you garden?
Anything and everything.
Really?
So my
What's
mom
the hardest
and I.
thing to garden?
The hardest thing, asparagus. My God.
Really?
God, you can't grow that shit. And then like the bunnies take it. Like they
all that work to make
take
your
it. They
piss
take
smell
it.
that bad.
Right? And exactly, it's really good for you. But vegetables are a totally different world than flowers.
Sure. Feel you.
You know?
Okay.
So roses hate this area.
Well, and
unless
again,
you buy the yucky roses that are bred for this area and therefore are not special.
growing up in the Great Depression, you were probably very, very appreciated.
Can I can my own food? Yes.
Have you ever made a stew out of a belt? Okay.
Well, then you haven't lived.
So so back to whatever the hell we're
You're
talking
like,
about.
I just want to get off gardening.
Not at all. I love it. And I love that you do that. And I love that about you. So stand-up gets going. Ellen was your first woman stand-up comedian you saw. At what point did you jump in and say, like, yeah, time for an open mic?
I'm going to try. It was the boyfriend that I broke up with, incidentally, most recently. He at the time was like 40-something years old and sold everything that he owned because he wanted to move to Los Angeles and become a professional actor, right? Like abandoned everything and it is a massive commitment, right? Like, I mean, he sold his house.
People have
car.
done it.
He's, I mean, people do it. They also go to Los Angeles and fail.
Yeah.
Not saying
most people do.
But because most people do.
Right.
The numbers aren't there, right? We have the amount of actors versus the amount of open roles it's not going to happen for most people.
Yeah.
So he's doing this big, massive thing, and all I could think was I'm watching him get on the plane. It was just, I won't even try to just go down the street to the Funny Bone. Okay.
But
it was by comparison of
like, it was
if that's
implanted
what
in your head.
Yeah. But if that's what I want to try, like he's moving to Los Angeles and throwing everything potentially.
With no formal training.
No.
Yeah.
No. Man, whatever.
Was that hard as an actor to see that? Were you like, what do you think you can do what I do?
I mean, he was a local actor for a period of time, but he had no training. Yeah. Like he hadn't gone to school for it, and that's not judgy. People can be good actors without training, but
it's against you.
This sounds awful, but he was definitely the actor version of, I'm a headliner. Like, okay, let's go get in the big pool, buddy. Yeah. And I mean, and what do you do? You say to the guy that you're dating, baby, don't, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. Oh God, stay in St. Louis. You can't say that.
Right.
Because he was probably in the top tier-ish in the St. Louis area, but
which
there's
is
also,
cool. That's cool.
Which
that's
is fine,
good.
but there's not a lot of competition here.
Right.
Try going to Chicago. See if you can get anything.
Maybe book
there.
3 or 4 commercials here. Or
right, like just tried. But I mean, it's he'll probably listen to this and hate me later. I don't care.
That's tough.
And
you can't think like that. Just
he's a little stalky, so it's on him. Hey.
At least he didn't try and sell you.
Straight up. But I will tell you, the fact that I know that he can't afford a ticket back to St. Louis is great. Because it means I'm never going to have to confront him standing in my driveway. Yeah. Right? Where I'm like, oh, hey, buddy. Oh. We're not talking. I'm gonna get in the car.
I hope you guys patch things up.
It's not happening. It's been over a year, dude. We're good. I'm so free. Yeah. Like, it's like the shackles. Like,
Yeah, I do. And that's a weird thing, too, because I think once you're past a certain age, you kind of realize you're like, okay, I didn't get married. I don't know if you've ever been married, but like, yeah, neither have I, and no kids or whatever. And there is a point where you're like, it's kind of nice. You know what I mean? Like,
it's nice to be able to go, I don't like you anymore, and leave.
Bye.
Right? Like that. Yeah. I don't have any assets to separate with you. I don't need somebody to sign anything. Like, I don't know that I can even live with someone. Yeah. Really. Like, I don't want to have an awkwardness of like, who gets the apartment? Like, the answer's me.
The right person can change your tune. Admit that. Admit it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, that's the honest answer. I do hope so. And I wouldn't say that I'm jaded or bitter, but I am aware of my past. Right. And my past has taught me the best things happen to me when I'm single because I'm thinking about myself. Yeah. I'm pushing myself forward, not someone else. Right. Because again, the codependency is deep within me. If I date somebody who like needs a fixin', I'm going to fix everything in their life and abandon all of my goals.
Would you ever date a comic?
Whoa, not local. Not that lives in my same city. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to be like one of the many. Because there's always one of the many, right? The female comics in a city can't. Oh, what are you doing?
It's tough,
it's the story, right?
It's tough.
Like, and even still, like,
I get it though too. You guys, I'm telling you, you guys' brains work different, and you're funny, and it's like if you talk to somebody who's talented like that, and then you don't, it's a weird thing. Like, so I could see you guys crave. No, I understand where you would crave someone who's at least on your level and who's going to give that to you back and forth. And it's probably like sugars taste really good, but it's not good for you. You think it's that?
You know, I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Right? It truly depends on the human being. I know that if I were to date a comic, they'd have to be funnier than me. I am not dealing.
Would you be real about it?
That they're funnier than me?
Or would they need to be like 40% funnier than you? Because if it was anything less, you'd be like, I mean, you're funnier than me. How would that work?
Let me just put it this way. I would need to date someone that I wouldn't want to follow on a show.
Ooh, because of the competitiveness or the...
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that I would want them... I mean, okay, fine, we'll just say it. I would want them to be able to dominate the shit out of me.
Comically.
Or otherwise.
Sexually.
I mean, you know, like if you're not a fucking man, don't apply. That's where that is.
So you hold different standards if you're bringing that to the table.
If you're going to have my same profession,
Got
then
it.
you have to be able to rule on all levels.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, don't. Because
Damn.
I tried that with the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
We were both actors. I'm sorry, not on the same level. And it was the most awkward thing in the world to have conversations with him about. He's like, well, I'm too good to be an extra. And I'm like, bitch, you're not. And I don't know how to tell you that. I don't want to lie to you about the fact that you're not good enough for what you're aspiring to.
Right.
I don't want that. I want to date somebody who is correct in who they are. Like, yeah, you are a headliner. You deserve to be a headliner. You should be a headliner. Go get that special. Be that. And if you criticize a joke that I write, I need you to be right.
It's going to be, you're going
know
to
what
take
I mean?
that to a certain level.
Yeah, you
I
have
respect
to be
that.
correct.
I'm glad you know that about yourself because that would really suck to have to figure that out at this point.
Right.
Right?
I mean, you know, I'm not dating an open micer. You know, they're
need
also
not
14.
Apply. Open micers
No.
need not apply.
No.
Do not apply.
I don't
to
think
date Jamie.
they would anyway.
That's not happening.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I could. You start hitting the open mics a little more, having a few cocktails, hanging out after.
No.
I think it'd take about a day. I think it'd take about a day.
Let's be clear. There have been a few offers.
Have there?
Oh yeah.
In the scene?
Yeah.
But
and it's fine.
But like polite.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody's been gross with me. There have been no pimps.
There's not.
Right. You know.
Not yet. Keep trying.
Yeah. No, nobody's been inappropriate. So it's been out there, but I'm not interested in being someone's like, oh yeah, I bagged Jamie. Like I don't need that
and that would
story.
happen. And that would happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna date somebody that's in my same world,
right,
they have to have the right to be there.
There
you know?
it is. I think that's our lesson that we pull away from this.
That's your takeaway.
If you don't have a Netflix special, don't even think about it.
Talk to
That's it. And it better be a good special, too.
Oh, my God, because there's some bad ones.
There's some
Can
really
we be
bad
straight
ones.
about that?
There are. And even all comedy's better live, in my opinion.
Of course. Of
but
course.
there are some where
it's
you're like,
hard to capture magic in a recorded setting.
You're
it really
absolutely right. And then you see people that you respect, and then you're like, I don't like, I'll give them a shot.
Best.
That's a weird thing. Yeah.
Well, enough that, you know, watch it impartially and go, I'll pay you not to release that.
There it is.
Is there a take back on this shit?
Yeah.
Like, can we
that.
undo it? I mean, right? Like, I'll give you one for free.
Yeah.
Let me get some more writing in.
There you go.
I mean,
That's
maybe
something we could work on.
You know?
We'll start counseling people on that.
Yes, like this was not releasable.
This is releasable. This has been a great conversation. Did you have fun?
Yes, I did.
The immediate, was it good for you?
Can I get $50?
Yeah. Damn it, I should have.
You weren't ready. Your brain's not wired that way.
I blew it. I blew it. Yeah.
I could have had a show.
That would have been so
money.
funny. That would have been so funny. Like, Jamie, this is so good for me. I hope it was good for you. May I have $50? That would have been really good. Anything?
May.
Do we need anything? Do we need to know anything else? What do you care about social media?
I mean, sure. I guess
you want
I
some people
have
to hear it and not follow you.
Right. Exactly.
Everybody plugs all the time. I'm like, I've been on
No
podcasts where millions of people hear you.
Yeah. And no one's getting on the phone.
Even then.
No one. I mean, you know what? Okay, let's plug this. I don't care if you follow me. I don't care. My name is Jamie Fritz. You can find me. It's not hard. Go to a comedy show. Do that. I don't care if you...
Preferably one Chris produces.
Right? That one right there. I mean, but just go to a show. Stop being the people that only stream comedy or watch a clip online and you think you know something. Don't. Go to a comedy club. Go to a comedy show. You need to laugh as a group. You need to laugh with strangers. Do that.
Boom. There it is. Perfect. Jamie Fritz, thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Absolutely. I'm going to say a few thank yous to St. Louis Counseling Services. Check out the podcast Mental Health Matters. They're from right here. I need to send Jamie to St. Louis Counseling Services. She needs to talk about this stuff. Be sure to support Sophie's Artisan Cocktail Lounge. We do Happiest Hour every single Thursday. And again, I reminded you about 1860s, the karaoke contest. And then thank you to Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple for that. All of the great sponsors we have, Gateway Powder Coating, all of our wonderful people that we get to work with on a daily basis. And thank you guys for tuning in. Look forward to official relaunch of the show. But Jamie, and then later this week, a couple other great comedians on the show. Thanks, everybody.